Welcome back, friends, to this very rainy Monday morning on the homestead. April showers, supposed to bring May flowers. We got a problem. The tractor is bleeding to death. Yesterday I sent Jack down to the lower pasture to do some mowing, and I noticed this morning where he pulled out was a stream of some sort of mysterious fluid, and that does not bode well. So let's see if we can figure out what that is, go get it, maybe we can get it fixed today. I'm no diesel mechanic, but that doesn't look good. You could really see it before it started raining. But we got something was leaking out of there. Yeah, it smells just like hydraulic fluid. All right, well, let's go down and grab the tractor. We'll bring it up here in the shop. It'll be a good project to do while it's raining. A few of the poor design elements are starting to manifest. We have a roof that has all these pockets that kind of hold water. And when you turn or brake or accelerate, then you get a big deluge that falls right on the dash here. Fortunately, it doesn't drip on my knees, so there is that. Folks ask why I took the windshield off. My goodness, it was dusty. I don't know what happened. Some sort of a low pressure zone is created, and it pulls copious amounts of dust in, and you need a shower just to go get the mail when you're done. When you're done. So that's gone. That's a winter only item. It's dripping all over my foot. Now my socks are all wet. This is not satisfactory. Are you ready for a really wet ride?
Do you need a ride?
My foot's wet.
Do you want me to go get the boots?
No.
I'll take care of you.
All right, well, can you take me down to get the tractor? Oh, you were smart. You got waterproof boots on. The tactical clogs are not great for the wet weather.
But you forgot my blanket.
I took them out.
It's cold.
Oh, the lens is completely soaked.
It's a reality.
We're going to take you over to the water to see if the pond's filling up with all this rain. Oh, look at that.
Looks good.
Looks really good. I received a lot of good feedback for the cattail people. A lot of pond specialists in the comments. The best way might be just to cut them off down below the water line and just drown them out.
And then just go through with clippers and waders?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not going to be easy.
It's okay. You like.
All right. Well, thanks for the ride. I'm going to grab the tractor.
Love you.
Is that a flat tire? Boy, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? There just is no way better to start a project than with a clean swept floor. Well, that wasn't too hard to find. Well, I've always said the best thing to work at it with your tools is a cart. If you don't have to worry about theft, if you work at a shop with a bunch of Philistines around that take your tools, and you can't have that, you got to lock them up. But for most guys, better than spending a ton of money on a toolbox, get yourself a cart, and that's the best way. It seems to me one of two things is going on here. Either a stick flipped up there and cracked the fitting, or it just simply could be loose. Oh no, is this going to be metric? Made in Japan, chances are. I do make an exception. I do give Honda a pass when it comes to metric because it's just so good in all ways. I hope the 22 fits because that's the biggest one I have. There it is. So it feels tight right there. I find that kind of strange that that was leaking because it was definitely tight. Now you'll see these wraps on here. It's a good idea if you run hydraulic lines, all of the motion over the years will wear them out, and they'll put these wraps on here so that that's in a brick kind of a thing to catch up the abrasion so you don't rub holes in your hose. This thing's kind of funny and it's sitting at a funny angle. There we go. We have our answer right there. You see that? Let me bring you up here closer. Here's the problem right here. You can see that got a split in it. That's right where it was leaking. So I would imagine what would happen, this being a brand new hose, probably a rock or a stick or something when we were brush hogging flipped up there and bent that, started that leaking. So there's no fixing that. We'll have to take that off there. We'll take it down to Napa and have them build a replacement hose for us. I'll tell you what, guys, we lucked out with this one. If you've spent much time around tractors, you'll soon realize what typically happens is that the hydraulic hose that bursts, if it doesn't burst and spray hot liquid all over your face, it'll break in the most difficult, hard to get to spot. That tire is definitely low. It's low, but it's not flat. Mrs. W brought me a fresh brewed cup of Stumptown coffee roasted in Portland and her homemade banana bread muffins with Dairy Gold butter on it. I'm telling you guys, that's about as good as things get on this earth. Let's get the tire up in the air, inflate it, see if we can find the hole. You know, sometimes these things, because tractors will turn, the steering turns over so hard, in the right conditions, you can actually push the tire. Now, I don't know if you can push it off the rim, but if it gets low, that you can push and you can like separate that bead and a little bit of air pressure can scrape out. So that's possible too. I'll show you how to find a leak real quick in any tire. We can lift this tire up with a bucket. Oh, good grief. I forgot about that hydraulic line. Oh, goodness, what a moron. That's only a gallon or so. Looks like I'll be buying hydraulic fluid while we're in town as well. It's a sad truth. I literally have special needs when it comes to handling any sort of fluid, especially gasoline or diesel. I spill everything. There's not, no, even when I'm deliberate and I try, I get the best gas cans and the best nozzles, and I'll walk, of course, you know, as soon as I go to pour anything, it could be something simple, it's all over the ground, it's all over my feet. It's a good thing I have a sawmill, or I'd run out of sawdust in the first week. Finding a leak in your tire, any tire, is pretty simple. You just need a solution of just some soapy water, anything. I use Dawn, maybe 10% Dawn, rest 90% water. These tractor tires will have, if you see these shrouds on there, they put those on there to protect them. Rough equipment that gets a lot of rough service in rough areas, like logging equipment, you'll see this to protect that Schrader valve. That Schrader valve is vulnerable from being sheared off, and by putting that guard on there will help it. So the pressure on these tires is 45, so I usually even overinflate them a little bit, get them good and pumped up. Because sometimes if a hole is really small, it will leak at its desired or its max pressure, but as soon as it drains down a few, 10, 20 psi, it'll stop. It'll kind of close itself, so they can be hard to find. Last fall I bought a tire plug kit and it had this little digital gauge in it. It's my first, got a light on it even. It's my first time using a digital gauge. And of course it doesn't work. Yeah, that's typical China. I'm so sick of their cheap garbage. 20 PSI. Granddad's old tire gauge, all metal. The reason for the soap is that the hole will create little bubbles. Now the best way is if you can put it, submerge it, put it underwater. If you got a small tire like a wheelbarrow or something, usually you can soak it in a tub and those bubbles will pop up straight away. See the bubbles coming out there? That's soap. That's why you want that. It tells you exactly where that hole is. Here's how you fix pretty much any tire. Remove the core. This is your basic tire patch kit. These are $10 or so. It's going to consist of three main things. You're going to have these butyl plugs, which are a fibrous, sticky plug. I don't know, for lack of a better word, I don't know what else it's called. A reamer, and then an insertion tool, which is kind of like a big sewing needle. Now you're going to thread a piece of this butyl. On a big tire like this, I'll just use the whole thing. You can, if you have a little tiny tire, you can cut it in half. Just like that, right there. You see that opening on the end? What we're gonna do is we're gonna shove that through there, and as we pull that back, it will leave this in there. Okay, we got it. Now you can see those little pigtails are sticking out there, and we'll just give it a, eat that out of there. We should be set. Now we can trim these off with our knife. We can put our Schrader valve back in there. Also, when you're at the parts store or you're ordering this stuff, order a dozen or so of the replacement Schrader valves. They go bad as well, even without a hole. So check that. Don't forget to spray your soap in there because it could just be something as simple as tightening that one back up. Sometimes these guys, it's that gooey, butyl-y stuff. It needs to work itself in a little bit by driving on it. If it's just got a few little bubbles, sometimes they'll sort themselves out, but that looks good. I don't see any problem there. Now, I typically cut these. I'm not going to cut it down flush because we want to leave a little bit out, but I don't want it sticking out so far that you have to worry about it getting snagged on something. I'm not sure what hydraulic fluid this machine requires here. I'm going to have to check the book. I have several, probably have 15 gallons on hand, but I want to make sure that I have the right one. The hydraulic fluid here is the transmission fluid, so it's a TF500, so it's hydrostatic, so it does everything. Unfortunately, I can't figure out how to check the level because this manual that was on the tractor is for a 235, and I've got a 359, and it shows a little window in the back, which this doesn't have. So, does anyone know how to check the fluid level on a 359C? Well, I guess that's about as far as I can go on this. I'll take that hose down to Napa and get a new one replaced and get 5 gallons of that transmission fluid. Got something funny in the mail from our friend Ken. I wanted to share with you that we got such a kick out of last night. Ken, I'm sure you're watching. Ken was trying to come up with some clever merchandise, focus here, ideas. He sent us this case of bottles and said, how about you guys start bottling the Wranglerstar Ranch water into a special Sweet Loaf edition. Maybe this will give people the fizz. I don't. We laughed and laughed about that last night. I don't know if I want to get into selling water and such, but I might keep it for our own personal consumption. But something I want to do, and maybe you guys can help me because I don't have a lot of time to research it. And I know there's a lot of folks on there that probably have the answer. I would like to do some merchandise, but I don't want to do the same old boring thing that we've done for years and everyone's doing t-shirts and that sort of thing. I want to do a really good hat. Now, when I bought some stuff from Geisley on their Black Thursday or whatever it was sale, and things ran late. So as a special gift, they included these hats. And I didn't buy this, and I didn't really know about them. But this is the best baseball cap I've ever used. It's got so much, you think a ball cap's a ball cap, but it's not, Those of us who like to work on stuff, having a button on the top or the lack of having a button on this is so nice. You know, you ever hit your head on that, you know, crawl underneath something? And then the black, so you don't get reflection for shooters. You've got the ripstop fabric. You've got, I think that's even an IR patch on the back, and then the easy Velcro adjustment. Why I'm bringing this up is I would like to have something like this and do a Wranglerstar edition. So hear me out. This is not made, this is made in China. I don't want Chinese made. I want to find, if any of you know of a good US manufacturer that makes a hat comparable to this. I want the ripstop, I want the Velcro on the front, I want the Velcro on the top, and I want, you know, that black deal on there, something very similar to this. What I'd like to do is to make these available, and we'll do an embroidery, the Wranglerstar logo on there. Now the idea is every month we do a patch, you know, like, here, let me show you. Now, not this particular one, but these are kind of cool. You know, some of the things I've been buying lately, you know, the companies will send these cool little patches like here. Oh, good grief. Focus right there. You see how that kind of a rubber deal? So we don't have to do that, but what I'd like to do is if we could source a USA made hat like this, get it embroidered, make them available. I'll just, let's say, well, whatever they cost, they're probably around 20 bucks or so. We'll just add $5 on for us. It'll help support our channel a little bit. We're not trying to get rich here. We just want to have a cool product that we can all kind of look forward to. Once you get your hat, then each month we can do a special patch. And there's so many creative people in my subscriber base. Maybe we could have a little contest. You know, we'll do, you know, submit your drawings. We could have them done, made up into patches, so you know that you could have a different one for each month, right? Do something like that. I think that would be cool. So if you know where to source these, or you know, and don't comment if you don't know what you're talking about, but if you're in that business or you know someone that can do this, that can offer the hat, embroidery it, as well as drop ship it, and also someone that can make these cool little Velcro patches that you can, you know, change around. You know, we could do fun things with the channel, you know, like whatever, you know. But I'd like to do that. So contact me, Cody@wranglerstar.com, if you can help me with that. And again, not to try to get rich off of anybody, but I think it'd just be a fun thing to have, and something that we could look forward to. We could collect, right? Like we did when we were kids. All right, thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you guys on the next video.